Hey everyone, how you going? It's Marlon here, and I want to talk to you today about how to onboard a new client. And so, if you win a new web design project, the most critical phase of the project is onboarding a new client so you can instruct them on how to work with you and how you're going to work with them. If you get this wrong, and this is where many problems happen with web designers, they start a new project, they're excited, the client's excited, but the problem is the expectations aren't set, and then as the project goes on, the relationship falls apart. So it's really important that the first time you interact with a client, you set a standard that isn't dropped. And the best way to do that is with an onboarding meeting. And so I want to go through 4 things that I believe that you should establish with your clients up front in an onboarding meeting that will really set the tone for the rest of the project and give you the best opportunity to not just finish the project with a happy client, but finish it on time and on budget. So you ready to go? All right, so the first thing I think you need to really set with your client is ground rules. And so that initial 1 hour meeting should really establish with your client exactly the ground rules around how you're going to work together. Now, you're the professional and they're purchasing your services. And the important thing is that that you set the rules from how you're going to engage, because if you don't, they will set the rules. And if they set the rules, they are inexperienced at delivering websites, and it's only going to be a disaster. And so set those ground rules. What are ground rules? Ground rules are things like, just letting them know exactly how you'll work together, the timelines, the tools that you'll use, how you'll interact with them, whether they're going to respond to you through email or whether they're going to respond to you through their project management system, whether they're going to just email everything to you, like when you ask for photos and logos, or if they're going to do it your way and put it into a drive. So those ground rules are very important. Otherwise, your project will become very messy very quickly. The other thing that you need to really get working or communicate to your client in that onboarding meeting is respect. They need to understand that they have to respect you. That they may be paying you for a service, but they can't treat you maybe like they treat their staff, maybe like they treat their family, and maybe like they treat their friends. They have to treat you with a higher level of respect. And that's really important because I'm sure many of you have been on projects where the CEO has kind of spoken down to you, has maybe even been quite rude to you and disrespected you. And that happens because typically an owner of a business or a CEO, that's the type of person they are, and that's how they got to the top. But you shouldn't be treated like that. And you are not their employee, you're not their family, and you're not a friend of theirs. What you are is a professional coming in to help them deliver an outcome that they need in their business. And I've had many examples in my business career where I have had a CEO that I'm working with that's very disrespectful to their staff around them, but when they communicate with me, they communicate me on a whole nother level. They do not disrespect me, and that's only because I set the ground rules and I let them know that I demanded respect. And so in that onboarding meeting, one of the things you need to do is set the ground rules on how they are going to speak to you and what are you going to do for them and what they're going to do for you. And once you establish that, you then need to hold them accountable to that. But sometimes if you don't establish it in the onboarding meeting, then you can't establish it later. Okay, so that's the second thing you need to establish in the onboarding meeting. The next thing is expectations, and this is really important, that the client's expectations and your expectations actually meet. When you're building software and building websites, the client's expectation could be here and yours could be here. And when you deliver this and they expect that, all of a sudden they don't want to pay you, or there's a problem, or later in the project, something happens that really breaks down the relationship. And so in that first meeting, you need to set expectations. So how do you do that? So the expectations you set is where one of the things you might do is go through the proposal and just say, look, this is what we're delivering. Confirmed? Yes. Okay. This is the next thing. This is the next thing. Agree? Yes. So you go through your proposal in detail and you say, this is actually what we're going to deliver. And this is what you should expect. Now, I expect you to do these things. And so there's a whole bunch of things that a client was going to have to do for you. And one of the big things that really web designers struggle with is getting content from the client in a timely fashion. So you need to set the expectation that you're going to expect content in a timely fashion, and you will hold them accountable to that. And then you need to get them to make a commitment that they're going to give it to you in a timely fashion in the way that you want it, okay? And so this may seem a little scary to you, but I can tell you now, it's better to do this up front and feel a little awkward than later have the client throw everything in your face and say, well, it's all your fault, okay? Because we know a lot of the times, sometimes it's our fault and we need to improve, but sometimes it's just the client, it's just the way they are. And they're an unreliable client and they don't do what you ask them to do, and then they blame you for absolutely everything. And I don't want that to happen to you. So that's why you have to set expectations with the client, so you're both on the same page, okay? And then the last thing you need to do in this meeting is you need to show leadership. You need to show your client that you are a leader and that you are going to lead them. You are not a follower. If they wanted to get a follower, they could have hired another employee. But the reason they didn't hire an employee to do this project is because it's something no one in the organization can do. And so it's not for you to demand leadership, it's for you to earn leadership, right? You don't demand people follow you, and you can't do that with a CEO. What you have to do is you have to lead them through the meeting. And so one of the best things you can do is hold an onboarding meeting where you sit down with the client and you say, look, this is something we do with every client, and we have an agenda that we go through with every client. And I'm going to take you through that agenda. And if we agree every single point in this agenda, then we're going to have a great project together. But if there's things that we disagree with, then we're going to deal with that issue right now. And it could be the proposal, it could be the price, it could be the way you're going to work together, it could be the fact that you want them to use the project management system and they're not going to use it. But as a leader, you deal with the problem before it arises, you raise the problem, you settle the problem, and then you move on. And that is how you earn the respect of a business owner or a CEO who in themselves is a great leader already, okay? And so I want to encourage you that as a web designer, you're not someone that just pushes pixels, right? You're not someone that just talks about marketing. You need to be a leader. You need to earn the respect of your clients. You have to set ground rules. You have to set expectations. And if you're wondering why your projects don't go well, it's probably because you're not doing these things. So either you're going to do it, or your client's going to run rings around you and cause problems and then blame it all on you. So that's my advice for you. Every time you get a new client, have an onboarding meeting, have a set agenda, go through that agenda and make sure you hit each of these 4 points. You'll set your project up for success, and then all you have to do is maintain the standard, not create. It's very hard to earn the standard when you're already being disrespected or people are not following through. It's better to set the standard and then just maintain that standard. So hopefully this helped you guys. This has been something that I have been doing in my business for a long time. Look, I learned the hard way. I'm a nice guy, right? Nice guys, and sometimes in business, nice guys finish last. But if you want to have a real business, you just can't be a nice guy all the time. You have to be a leader. And leaders sometimes set agendas that people don't like. And sometimes my clients like what I say and sometimes they don't. But I always do the best thing for them. Okay, so I want to encourage you guys, implement this in your business. It'll transform your business. And I look forward to speaking to you soon.